Hello, hello, hello. Uh, okay, we've got audio. Feeling better. Hopefully sounding a little bit better. So thank God. Thank you for your prayers. Let's get into it. So today's reading was Job 24 to 28, and we carry on. Job. Job speaks a little bit more now, but in 24 he carries on, literally asking the question. Well, we didn't ask the question yesterday, but asking what we were contemplating yesterday, that there are instances where the wicked are not punished, the wicked go seemingly scot-free. Now we understand that ultimately it's man's destiny to die once and face judgment, and so there will always be judgment. God is just, God is not mocked, and eventually, whether it's in this life or after it, man will face judgment. But if we're just looking at, society, there are instances, and unfortunately many instances, where it seems the wicked go unpunished. So Job carries on, with that line of thought, um, in chapter 24, and actually ends the chapter sort of challenging anyone who can prove him wrong. Um, in 25, Bildad responds significantly shorter this time, but again, sort of emphasizes uh, that God is powerful, and is able to enforce his will. Um, and in 26, Job responds to Bildad. Uh, and again challenges, and we really see, I think you really see, Job is no stranger to God. Job has a very good understanding, very good knowledge of God. um when he challenges, his would-be accusers masquerading as friends, he comes at them with a full understanding and knowledge of who God is and what he is capable of. And I think, again, I think we should strive to have that understanding and knowledge of who God is, and seek Him out. I think that's part of what we're doing here, what we're doing with like a daily reading, with a daily consideration of who God is, because we should be we should be able to know Him so intimately as to know, cool, even bad things that are coming from Him, we will accept because He is good. Um, I see a similar familiarity with God, so much so that what would otherwise appear to be wrong, we understand God can use to do right. In Abraham, having walked with God all that while, and we'll get to his story, interestingly enough, of this, um, when he finally gets Isaac after the whole debacle of Hagar and Ishmael and all of that. When when we finally get Isaac, and God says to him to sacrifice Isaac, um, Abraham is able to still know and trust that somehow God knows what He's doing. Now, it's interesting, or it strikes me, because human sacrifice up until that point, and indeed thereafter, we know is not of God. And so when I was younger, I used to say, if I was Abraham, I definitely presume that was the enemy trying to trick me into killing, God's promised son. But Abraham knew God so much so that even this command, which, you know, by all accounts is not of God, Abraham knew if it is of God, then it's fine. Um, one second. Um, and was able to follow through to the extent where I believe in the Hall of Fame in Hebrews. I say Hall of Fame, Hall of Faith in Hebrews. Um, Abraham believed that he was going to have Isaac resurrected simply because it was God that said, "Do this thing that otherwise would not be of God." And Job shows sorry, Job shows a similar understanding in that he served God and he knows he's innocent. Um, but then if God is still allowing for all this punishment to come upon him, well, the only person that he's still going to go to would be God. Otherwise, it would make sense to say, well, I've served God this whole time and I didn't, and I'm being punished for no reason, then maybe I'll walk away. Sound familiar? That's a lot of the arguments for people leaving the faith today is they didn't get something, they were hurt by something, be it the church, be it unanswered prayer, and walk away. Job, I think, would quite reasonably walk away, and yet he is so familiar with God, he is so understanding of who God is to recognize that, well, what else is there? He's not seduced by the idea that there is anything better than God, despite his situation. I think that's something we should strive for, to be confident in. As a 26, he carries on, challenging, um, challenging Builder. Then there's a bit of sarcasm at the beginning, but challenging Builder to his understanding of God. And then 27, we start to see Job's last speech, and he carries on talking about the lives of the wicked and how they might go free, um, uh, and sort of uh, praying for retribution, as it were, for what he's going through. But then again, in the same light, Joe speaks of God and how incredible it is, for God to truly be the um, the designer of wisdom. And we get this saying that we see later on as well that the fear of the Lord is true wisdom. Um, and I was talking about striving to know God so intimately, and I think right there is a good reason why. When the Bible says fear, it's not just talking about like you're shaking your boots. It's talking about a reverence, a recognition. The fear of the Lord isn't scared of the Lord. It's I understand who the Lord is, and in understanding who the Lord is, you know, you recognize how powerful, how almighty He truly is. And that is the beginning of wisdom. So if we strive to understand, to know God, so as to even be able to see how suffering coming from Him might be good, because He is good and we are so convinced of His being good, then we will truly have understanding, have wisdom. Um, but yeah, Job's about to round up his part of this, and then we're going to hear from uh, one other. I think, and I'm not sure. Well, we're going to hear from Elihu, and then God's going to come in and speak as well, and we will see the culmination of all of this. Um, so yeah, I think for me, this really challenges me. Am I so convinced of God's goodness as to be able to recognize even that which would appear bad, even that which would appear painful, even that which is bad is painful if coming from God as being good. Am I there? Admittedly, I think I've got a ways to go. I need to grow in that confidence and in that understanding. It's all well and good saying all things work out for good for they that know the Lord and are called according to His purposes. That's nice. It's easy to say, much easier than to live out. And yet, I think that's where we need to be. For Job to recognize and in one breath say, God hates me, and yet also say, God is my Redeemer. For Abraham to recognize if God has said, kill your son, um, that God will also resurrect that same son, and Abraham being willing to follow through. We need to get to a place. I need to get to a place where I have such confidence in God, and even when things appear to be, difficult, or even when things are difficult, when things are bad, when things are evil, I know because He is good that it's all good. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna round up there. Thank you for watching whenever you do, and I do hope that this encourages you to read as well. Tomorrow's reading will be. Let me just bring it up. Actually, I can pull it up on my phone, which might be quicker. Uh, Tomorrow's reading will be Job 29 to 31. Uh, 29 to 31. And also remember, the Blue Letter Bible has this reading plan. You can print it out or you can follow it online. Um, Thank you, Mom. Pastor Lyons mentioned, yeah, when Job talking represents most of us in our situation, indeed. Um, yeah. Yes, the this plan that I'm following, this particular chronological plan, is available on the Blue Letter Bible um, website. You can go to devotionals, daily reading plans. It'll be one of those. It's also available in the YouVersion Bible app. Um, there's lots of places to refer to it if needed. Um, Thank you, Mom. Oh, and the missus has joined, so I'm blushing, so I'm going to run off. But I need to join as well. Thank you now. Um, yeah. So have a good evening, guys. And thank you, Mom. And have a blessed Sunday tomorrow. All right. Peace out.